So this is a little bit update on one half of the working group 5, because as you probably know, we have pulled together the humanitarian diplomacy and the resource mobilization. And just to start with that, maybe the reason why we put those two together was generally because we saw that those two had a very external focus, where many of the other working groups had very much an internal focus. And I think it was important for us to bring these two together, because very much, at least, what the resource mobilization group needs comes from the HD part. We need the key messaging, the key outputs that we have to produce. Then we will, of course, do a little bit juggling, so it's a little bit more fundraising terms but in general, we need the input from the HD, and that's why we think it's important to lob the two together. So that's why. But I will keep to my side of the expertise, the resource mobilization side. So just to say that we have been working very much about trying to get up a strategy on how we want to do this. So just to say that, of course, you know that the strengthening the resource mobilization was the priority action. And what we are supposed to come out with at the end is that the financial resource for MHPSS has increased in line with the funding target. So what we started by doing was, of course, looking a little bit at this. We just saw the result of them, that it's very difficult to see what is actually our starting point on resource mobilization. So we had a little bit discussion around how we do that. But then, of course, we moved into, okay, what we need to do now is generally to focus on externally, how do we raise funds? I think there are a few comments that I want to talk a little bit about, and I think some of them are here, and then I will do another things. And then I promise, Maite, that I will tell a little bit about who we are in the group. But I think the two things that we've been working very much on in this group is, one, to try and get a resource mobilization strategy in place, so we are clear on what are the direction we want to go, what is the ambitions we want to do, because I think, just to be very clear, resource mobilization could be everything or nothing, and I think it was very important for us to limit the number of tasks that we took on ourselves, again, back to the fact that we are not too many in the group, and until we are 25 people who will lift heavily on this, then we should be very careful not to spread our work too thinly. At the moment, we are very much focused. It's the Danish Red Cross with myself and some colleagues who are pushing the whole thing. We have the IFRC, both at the Geneva and in the reference center, that are part of this group. We are still hoping for a person from the ICRC to join the resource mobilization. I have some discussion with ICRC, so I hope that will fall in place. Then we have 3 very strong national society participating. We have El Salvador Red Cross, we have the Netherlands Red Cross, and we have the Qatari Red Crescent. And I think that is very important. And the reason why I say that these are very important, not unlike others, but just to say what we are looking for members in this group is not generally all national society. We would very much like in this group to first and foremost have resource mobilization people. Sorry to all you who are MHPSS experts. We generally don't want you. We want resource mobilization people. So we want to have focus on that. On top of that, what we really want is to have the best overview of the major donors around the world, which means that we are prioritizing resource mobilization people from national societies that can give added value on important donors. That's why the Qatari Red Crescent is very important, because they have a knowledge about the donors in the Gulf states, which I don't have and we don't have in Europe. That's very important. They bring that added value. El Salvador have experience of the Americas, how they work, and the Netherlands Red Cross have experience of some of the other European donors that we don't have. So the ones we are looking for, and I hope you can help finding it, we would very much like someone from East Asia, Pacific. I'm talking right now with the Japanese Red Cross. We have talked about the Hong Kong Red Cross, but it could also be Australia, others who have knowledge around the donors. It's really important. I would very much like an African National Society, but again, for me, it's important that it's an economic powerhouse. So it's either one of the big economies in Africa, so Nigeria or Kenya or similar like that, or it has to be home to one of the big resource mobilization possibilities, so the African Union, ECOWAS, SADC, or those kind of countries. So, and then finally, of course, as I said, we are open for others, so please join if you think that you have some knowledge about donors that we don't know. But for me, it's really important that it's resource mobilization people, so please go back to your resource mobilization, because those are the ones we really would like in this group. So that's just to say that's on that side. What we want to do is, of course, to increase the global funding for our work. It is very important to say for us that we focus on the beneficiaries. We do know there's a lot of funds requests for national society, for staff and volunteer development. When we go to donors, that is not the primary focus. The primary focus will be that we help beneficiaries on the ground. Then hopefully that will also mean that we capacity build and have resources to do our national societies. But just to say, the main focus will be on us selling the project that we as the Red Cross are helping people on the ground on this to do. Then the second thing I want to say is influencing donor priorities. That takes time. Not the 2050 kind of time, but time that it takes a few years for them to change. They don't have their strategy changing all the time either. So you need time to actually move them and work together with them. And that's why we want to, that's you can see in the plan very soon that has been put in there. And also, as we said before, it's closely linked with other areas like health, protection, or education in emergency. And we need to be very clear on that when we go to donors to talk about it. So therefore, our focus will be to strengthen the engagement with the donors as a collective movement and at the national level. And then just to be very clear, if someone is worried, it's not the Danish Red Cross or the IFRC or someone going out and say, now we're going to engage with donors. This is us doing it together. And every time we reach out to a national donor, it will be the national society who will be in the key center of that reach out. So we will not go around anyone, we will ask, and hopefully we can join in terms of we can give some expertise and so on. But otherwise, we hope that the national societies will be the lead on these things. We have some key actions and success criteria in our strategy. We would like to strengthen our collective engagement. We would like to pick out in the first year here in 2021-22 a minimum of key donors that we will work very, very strongly to and see if we can engage with them and make them move on the MHPSS. We will look at different geographical areas and types of donors. So it's not just going to be states, it can also be big foundations or big companies if they're interested. But we want to do a big mapping to make sure that we reach some of the big ones. And we want to bring into play these regional national societies and their strength. Then we want to facilitate support to national society on donor engagement, because one thing is that we go to the big donors, we also want to make sure that the smaller ones are reached. And the resource mobilization, we want to develop standard material and products so the national society can use to engage with their donors. And as I also tried to write, that we will try to make material that are developed so it focuses on if MHPSS is under health for that donor, we will have specific comments on that. And if it's under protection, then we will try to divert the messaging on that. We hopefully will also be able to make people aware that we have these materials. And then we hope that some national society will actually do it. So we'll see. And then finally, we will do a long-term resource mobilization strategy. And as someone mentioned in the beginning, I think it was you, Dick, that we are not talking only 23, but actually how do we look in 2027 and so on. We will facilitate that and do that planning as well. So in general, to say 21 and 22 is strengthen our engagement and facilitate support. That's what we want to do. And then in 2023, we will formulate the long-term ambition on resource mobilization. Then we'll also have some ideas about the big donors, how they actually look, and whether it doesn't make sense to make a long-term strategy, say we want 500 million euros on that in 2024, if the 10 biggest donors say, it's not going to be a priority for us, then it's going to be slightly difficult. So that's why the plan is, as you'll see it on the screen right now, that is what we want to do. Yeah, and then just to say, we are a few core groups, but we hope that others will join this core group so we can reach our targets. Thank you very much.